Captured enemy soldiers heard voices through the static. Allied broadcasts promised them something impossible. But what these prisoners said afterward changed everything we knew. One German officer broke down in tears. An Italian soldier called it pure genius. And a Japanese POW said it saved his sanity during the darkest nights. Their confessions revealed three shocking truths about psychological warfare. And the last one, it still influences how nations communicate today. The secret interviews. After World War II ended, something strange happened. Allied officers sat down with captured enemy soldiers. They asked questions nobody expected, not about battle plans or military secrets, but about radio broadcasts. These weren't normal conversations. The rooms were quiet and private. German soldiers, Italian fighters, even Japanese prisoners. Each one was asked the same thing. What did you think when you heard our broadcasts? The answers were recorded in classified files. For decades, these documents stayed hidden. But when historians finally read them, they were shocked. Enemy soldiers didn't say what anyone predicted. They revealed three truths about the propaganda they heard. Truths that changed how wars are fought today. The first truth, it came from a German officer who fought at Normandy. And what he said made his interrogator go silent. The credibility discovery. The German officer leaned forward during his interview. He had been captured just weeks after D-Day. "I need to tell you something," he said quietly. His interrogator pulled out a notebook. "We stopped believing our own command." The officer wasn't talking about battlefield orders. He meant the news from Berlin. "Your BBC told us things our leaders hid." This wasn't one man's opinion. Interview after interview showed the same pattern. German soldiers had secretly listened to Allied radio. In bunkers, in trenches, even in tanks between battles. They risked punishment to hear these broadcasts. Why would enemy soldiers trust their opponents? The answer revealed something powerful about human psychology. The Allies had done something most propaganda never does. They told the truth, even when it hurt. When Allied forces lost battles, BBC reported it. But there was a reason this strategy worked. Because it had to do with what happened next. When propaganda tells the truth. A Wehrmacht sergeant explained it perfectly. He'd fought in France since 1940. Berlin radio said we were winning every battle. But the sergeant watched his friends die. He saw cities bombed and armies retreating. Then I heard BBC admit they lost a battle in Italy. That single honest report changed everything for him. If the enemy admitted their own losses, maybe they told the truth. So he started listening more carefully. And he wasn't alone. Captured soldiers said the same thing in interview after interview. Allied broadcasts gained trust by being honest. This created a strange situation on the battlefield. German commanders noticed their troops seemed less motivated. They didn't know why morale was dropping, but Allied intelligence knew exactly what was happening. The broadcasts were working in ways nobody predicted. And this led to the second truth prisoners revealed, one that involved emotions instead of facts. The homesickness weapon. An Italian prisoner sat in a camp in North Africa. His name was recorded as Private Giuseppe from Sicily. The interrogator asked about a program called Radio Freedom. Giuseppe's eyes filled with tears immediately. "That broadcast almost broke me," he whispered. Radio Freedom played Italian songs, not the official music from Rome, but old songs from small villages. Giuseppe heard a song his grandmother used to sing, while he sat thousands of miles from home. Then a voice spoke in his exact Sicilian dialect, not proper Italian, the real language of his town. It felt like my mother was talking to me. This wasn't an accident. Allied teams had studied Italian culture for months. They knew which songs hurt the most. They understood exactly how to make soldiers homesick. But why would making someone sad help win a war? The answer revealed something dark about psychological warfare, something these prisoners didn't realize until it was too late. The psychology of surrender. A British intelligence officer discovered the pattern. He interviewed 50 Italian prisoners in 1 month. Every single one mentioned the music broadcasts. Every one talked about feeling homesick. Then he noticed something else in the reports. These soldiers had surrendered more easily than others. The officer realized what was happening. Homesickness made soldiers want to survive. If they survived, maybe they'd see home again. But dying in battle meant never going back. The broadcasts planted a simple idea in their minds. This war isn't worth dying for. One Italian soldier said it clearly. After hearing those songs, I just wanted to live. So when Allied troops attacked, he raised his hands. Dozens did the same thing. The music had done something weapons couldn't do. It made enemy soldiers choose life over loyalty. But the most shocking discovery came from Japanese prisoners. What they said about broadcasts challenged everything experts believed. The Japanese exception. Japanese soldiers almost never surrendered. Their military code made capture deeply shameful. So when Allied forces captured Japanese troops, it was rare. Interrogating them was even more difficult. But a few prisoners eventually talked. What they said about American broadcasts surprised everyone. One soldier had been trapped on an island for months. His unit was cut off from supplies and communication. I heard American radio at night, he said softly. The broadcasts weren't in Japanese. They were in English. But this soldier had learned some English in school. The voice said the war would end soon. It said Japanese soldiers would be treated fairly. This prisoner admitted something shocking. Those words kept me alive when I wanted to die. The broadcast didn't make him surrender, but it made him hope. And hope changed his survival instinct completely. However, there was one broadcast technique that worked on all enemy soldiers, regardless of nationality or belief: the universal message. Intelligence officers noticed a pattern across all interviews. German, Italian, and Japanese prisoners said the same thing. One specific type of broadcast affected everyone: letters from home. Allied teams had collected letters sent to enemy soldiers. Then they read selections on the radio. "Dear Hans, your daughter took her first steps today. Antonio, Mama is waiting for you to come home." Real letters, real families, real voices. A German sergeant described hearing his wife's letter read aloud. "I realized she needed me more than Hitler did." This technique worked because it was universal. Every soldier had someone waiting at home.
The broadcasts reminded them what they were missing, and more importantly, what they might lose forever. But here's what the prisoners didn't know. Allied command had debated whether this technique was too effective. Some officers worried it might cross an ethical line, because what came next revealed the darkest part of this strategy: the legacy that remains. These interview transcripts stayed classified for decades. When historians finally studied them, they understood why. The broadcasts had been more powerful than any weapon. They changed how soldiers thought about war itself. Today, every military studies these techniques. Psychological operations are now standard in modern conflicts. The three truths those prisoners revealed became foundational principles. Truth builds credibility. Emotion drives behavior. Personal connection breaks loyalty. But there's something uncomfortable about this knowledge. These broadcasts saved lives by ending fights earlier. Yet they also manipulated human emotions deliberately. The prisoners who spoke honestly in those interviews never knew this. Their words became training manuals for future psychological warfare. Every modern conflict uses some version of what worked in World War II. The voices coming through radios in 1944 still echo today. Those captured soldiers thought they were just answering questions. Instead, they taught the world how to win wars without firing a shot. The effects of Allied propaganda on Axis POWs changed warfare forever. These World War II prisoners of war shared honest reactions to broadcasts they heard. The psychological impact of propaganda on Axis POWs revealed powerful truths. Allied propaganda broadcasts during World War II didn't just spread messages. They won minds. What Axis POWs said about Allied radio changed how nations fight wars today. History isn't just battles. Sometimes it's voices in the dark.